Well, season one of Gotham is over, and if you've been watching my vlogs, then you probably know my opinion, my general opinion on the season. It's. That's the best way I can describe it, and that's honestly, well, that's not really how I can describe the finale. The finale, some parts of it were really good, were really, I don't want to say heart wrenching, but very poignant, very well acted, and very subtle, which is something that can't be said for a lot of things on this show. And other parts of it were just so crazy, so weird, so just over the top nuts that I honestly don't know what they were smoking when they wrote this. So, I suppose I should start with the story. Okay, the story of this one, Fish Mooney comes back to town. Oh, God. Fish Mooney comes back to town to take her place. Meanwhile, Maroni is gunning after Falcone after Penguin actually framed Falcone for an assassination attempt on Maroni in the previous episode. And Jim and Bullock basically try to protect Falcone because he's not a good guy, but at least with him running the Gotham City Mafia, there's at least some semblance of order. Whereas Maroni is just kind of a nutball. He's nuts. He's very impulsive. He's angry. He's sort of, again, he's nuts. So Gordon and Bullock try to protect Maroni or try to protect Falcone from Maroni's men, while at the same time Bruce Wayne is trying to figure out the secrets of his father. Blah, blah. Okay. What worked about this episode? I should start with what worked. Well, the stuff with Gordon and Bullock again, and also having this sort of reluctant alliance between Gordon and Falcone because Falcone basically represents everything Gordon was fighting against at the beginning of season one. He does not like corruption. He does not like organized crime. He does not like crime of any kind. And the fact that Falcone has basically built his entire fortune, his entire life around organized crime is something that Gordon just can't stand. So having them actually having to team up in this episode was I liked seeing that. And their moments actually made up again the most poignant moments of the episode because at the end of the episode Falcone basically says I'm leaving this city, I'm retiring. I know I've disappointed you, but here's a knife. Your father gave me this knife. He was the most honest man I ever knew. And some people might think that was out of place for a hardened crime boss, but with how they've developed Falcone over the course of the season, I actually think that was a fairly in-character moment for him, and again, well acted by John Doman and Ben McKenzie, and of course Donal Logue. I used to think it was Donal Logue, but apparently it's Donal Logue. Donal Logue is a lot of fun as usual as Bullock, and of course Robin Lord Taylor is the Penguin. He's even more over the top than usual, but again, he makes it work. He makes it fun. He knows when to go over the top and when to sort of downplay it. So I still enjoyed him as the Penguin, really trying to weasel his way into everyone's good graces, or basically whoever's good graces he was currently at the mercy of. So he's still a lot of fun. And of course David Zayas as Maroni, he's still fairly entertaining. I mean, he made for a pretty good bad guy. He was funny when he needed to be, while at the same time he was sort of menacing. However, first of all, I'm not even going to comment too much on Bruce Wayne because we all know he can't act. Or if he can, he doesn't show it in this show. Maybe that's how he was directed, but again, he's back to the robot acting where he's I have to phone my father's secret. He's looking in his library. Lucius Fox said my father was a stoic. And Alfred's basically, I feel so bad for Sean Pertwee having to act opposite this little stone, this little robot. So Sean Pertwee as Alfred, he's basically trying to say, your father was a good man. Why can't you just accept that, blah, blah, blah. And they discover the Batcave at the end of the episode. It was, way too early for that. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least passingly interested in where they're going to go with it in season 2. But yeah, basically everything bad about the episode was housed in Fish Mooney. Fish Mooney just completely ruined this episode because she came back and she had this alliance with Maroni. She tried to make this alliance with Maroni, and Maroni disrespected her, and she made the same stupid, impulsive decision that got her into this mess in the first place, got her shipped out of Gotham in the first place, in that, she doesn't like being called Babe, okay? So she shoots him in the head, and that ignites yet another shootout between the two factions, Maroni and Fish. Selena slinks off because she allied herself with Fish because, quote, she thought it was a cool gig. I'll let that speak for itself. Again, we haven't really got a whole lot of characterization with her up to this point, but then Fish, of course, gets into a fight with Penguin, and Butch has to choose between the two. Butch, having been brainwashed, again, going with a brainwashing thing, he was brainwashed, and his loyalties, he's completely unsure of his loyalties thanks to Victor Zsasz. Which, where was Zsasz during this episode? He's supposed to be Falcone's number one guy. Where was he? That just occurred to me. It didn't occur to me while I was watching the episode, but if Falcone is in really this much danger, then why isn't Zsasz there? Why isn't he having Zsasz right at his side at all times? Okay, so yeah, Butch shoots both Fish and Penguin kills Fish Mooney, which that was my favorite scene in the episode, because Penguin actually got to kill Fish Mooney. The character who is the most interesting in the show gets to kill the character I can't stand. So he gets to kill Fish Mooney. She dies screaming over this cliff, or over the side of this building. She tumbles into the water. And Penguin just stands up on the edge of this building. He's like, "I'm the king of Gotham." And at that point, I just was saying to myself, who wrote this? This is insane. And I know insane Gotham City, but this is just so over the top, even for this show. It was just so loud and weird and random. While this is going on, Barbara is supposedly trying to get over being abducted by the ogre, so she requests that Leslie Tompkins be her counselor back at her loft. And she has this very awkward conversation with Leslie Tompkins. She basically says, "Does Jim beat you? I mean, I was so frightened on my first date with Jim." And she's doing it with the same spaced out eyes that she had in the previous episode. Leslie Tompkins is continuously trying to get Barbara to actually discuss what they came here to discuss, which is, what the ogre exactly did to her, and how she can subsequently get over it. And Barbara is continuously dodging the question. And at the end of the episode, it's basically revealed that Barbara is the one who actually killed her parents. We don't know the circumstances. We just know that the ogre was there, presumably. So Barbara killed her parents. She stabbed them repeatedly, and she tries to kill Dr. Tompkins. And it's very cartoonish the way they do it. But I'll get to that in a second. And before she can actually go through with it, Gordon shows up, and Leslie Tompkins knocks Barbara out by banging her head against the floor, thankfully. And presumably in season 2, she's going to be sent off to the nut house. Okay, this twist, it was at this point in the episode where I was, immediately after that twist happened, I just said, this is stupid. I actually said that out loud. This is just so stupid. This is a really dumb twist. Okay, first of all, I'm convinced that the woman playing Barbara, if she does have any talent, then it's not on display in this show, because she is just so awful. She has gone from, mediocre and mildly serviceable at the beginning when she was just, the sort of weak, supportive wife. She's gone from that to just flat out terrible, from her spaced out abduction acting her spaced out, doe-eyed deer in the headlights look when she was abducted, to the very cartoonish way in which she tries to kill Leslie Tompkins, because she gets this knife, and she's like, "Are you scared yet? How about now?" And I'm just like, "Oh my God, really?" Again, came out of nowhere. We never really got any. If her spaced out acting throughout this episode was supposed to signify that she was somehow traumatized or changed by her experience with the ogre, then okay, fine. But again, the writing on this character is so inconsistent, because she was okay. The only conclusion I can come to regarding her character and how she reacts to dangerous situations is that she is very, very, very easily affected and very easily changed. Okay, so she was with the ogre for maybe 1 day, maybe 2. Okay, and I don't presume to know what psychologically happens to a person when they're abducted, especially not by a psychopath like the ogre. I wish he was here. I wish the ogre was in this episode, because he was actually a pretty menacing villain. But I digress. You expect me to believe that she's just off the walls loopy after really not having been exposed to all that much while at the hands of the ogre. Okay, yeah. First of all, why did she stab her parents? I mean, from what we saw, she was very reluctant to kill anyone when she was captured by the ogre. I mean, she really, from what we saw, found it really tough to come to a decision on who should die instead of her, when Milo Ventimiglia was saying to her, choose someone to kill. Oh my God, this was just so poorly done. Again, some stuff worked in the finale, and other stuff really, really, really did not. Even more so than usual. And season 2, they better bring their big guns. Assuming I even watched season 2, because season 1 of Gotham overall did not impress me all that much. Again, it had some positives going for it, but I can't really say I'm going to miss having to constantly separate the good from the bad in this show. Or maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I'm getting needlessly stressed out. I'm emotionally breaking down over a TV show. So I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I belong in Arkham Asylum. I don't know, but that's about all I got for the season finale of Gotham. Make of it what you will. Let me know what you thought of the episode and the season as a whole. And yeah, until next time.